Hi, welcome back. Right, I'm going to call this part 2 of the build of the Spitfire. Now, I started building this kit before I started doing YouTube videos about this kit. So it's partly built before I got a chance to create any footage of the bits I've already done. Now, some of the parts are already filmed because I've done some quick tip videos on how to assemble the cockpit and stuff. I've done quick tip videos, well not quick tip videos, I've done normal videos on how to install these additional detail of the control. Well, basically there's a control column, there's like a link that goes from there to a scratchbook piece that goes there with all the control cables and stuff that go on the cockpit. I wanted to do that, not because you can see much of it, to be fair, when it's finished you can't. I do have a little plan for that. I'm considering making the seat removable. You can do it with the when it's closed up. But the only downside to doing that is I'm not sure how I could accommodate the seat belt arrangements, because I've got some Edward, I've got lots of Edward additional bits for this kit. Again, I didn't get them straight away, so some of the parts I can't actually use because I've assembled a lot of the kit before I got the parts. But anyway, so this is the seatbelt arrangement. I suppose most people have seen these available commercially. You can get them from Edward, usually from Hanance via Hanance Direct, or you can get them from eBay. I got mine from eBay. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the seatbelts yet. I need to work out if I can actually fit the seatbelts once the actual cockpit's assembled. I don't know if I could, because I doubt you could get the arrangement that goes at the back here for the connections and stuff. But that's something to think about later. What I need to get done, because I want to get this fuselage together now, so I want to get on with the foiling process that I really enjoy doing. So first of all, I have some little PE parts that came with it, which are these little things. Now these are just an additional part of the kickboards in here. These are the kickboards, these two things here, and you fit those on the cockpit tub floor as early part of the build. Obviously you're supposed to fit these kickboard detail parts before you assemble all this stuff. But I want to put them in because I don't know, it's one of the few things in the fuel. You can see it when the cockpit's closed, and it's just a nice little piece of a detail that I'd like to put in. And I have, off camera, I have tested these and so they do fit in the cockpit. So that's something I need to address. I'm going to paint these, and you can get them in. I can get them in now, and I'll just drop them in. I'll put some slow sitting cement in there, and I'll just position them, and they'll go off. They don't have to be super strong as long as they go in there, so I can do that. So that's going to get done. And that's the PE on that side. I've managed to fit some additional PE parts on the side of this side of the cockpit. There's a little on-off switch on the de-icing thing, tiny little thing, and then you've got a little bit of like text. You can't see it on that lever there for the oxygen, emergency oxygen. I think that's for the undercarriage release, I think. And then there's a de-ice badge there, which is again tiniest thing you've ever seen. I've also, anybody that's not watched this build, I've added all the wires and stuff on the undercarriage release mechanism moulded in plastic. I've replaced all these and replaced them with copper wire. I've done the same on these wires that come through the cockpit dashboard with copper wire. I've also put some additional copper wires in the base of the floor. Don't ask me what they do. I think they basically go to these tanks here. I'm not sure. It's very difficult to find out. Somebody may tell me in the comments. So they're in there just as an additional piece of detail. There's additional wires in there and stuff that you can see on photographs. As I may mention in other videos, you can always see a pipe, but you can't always see where it comes from and where it goes to. And when you're building a kit, you don't necessarily need to, as long as the wires there is present and you can see it. It's an additional part of the detail in the cockpit. It just makes it more interesting to look at, I think. It doesn't have to be, the wire that you put in there doesn't have to go to where it comes from, because you're never going to see that, as long as it gives the impression of it being there, if you like. So I've added quite a lot of wires and stuff into the base of this cockpit with the intention of being able to see it if I take the seat out. It's not the end of the world if I don't, because I've got video evidence of it being done now, and it's there. So So we'll see that. I haven't worked on that one yet. That's going to have to get addressed before I put the fuselage on. I have to make a decision about the seat belts, what to do with the seat. This has to be addressed. These bottles, they're not oxygen tanks. These are something else. I think they're pneumatic tanks for something. And a lot of people complain or do like to mention that the decals on them are probably incorrect because it mentions oxygen or something like that. I don't care. I really don't care. You can't read it when it's in the kit. You can hardly read it. You can hardly read it without it being in the kit. Well, you can, but once it's in the fuselage, it adds a little bit of detail, does the decal, and I quite like the look of it. So, because even if it's incorrect, I don't mind that. I will be replacing this plastic with some copper wire again, because it might as well. It's easy to do, and I may bring some wires out the bottom of them. I don't know yet, because when they're in the fuselage, you can't see much of those either. There's lots of it you can't see. It just sits on there. There's this oxygen, or not oxygen, these pneumatic tanks there, they sit there. And when they're in the fuselage, the only way you can see them really is down this part of the windscreen. And it's got a windscreen now, so you can hardly see it, but I'll see how I go on with that. When I build these Spitfire kits, I don't put when the seat's in, put the seat in quickly. I made it so you can just drop it in like that. So it just sits there. You don't have to glue everything into a kit. You can just make things push fit or just touch fit or whatever, as long as they don't fall out. They don't have to be super strong, do they? They're a static model that just sits on its shelf or wherever you put it. So that you can make things removable, and I don't see a problem with that, especially at this scale. So the seat's there. Now if you put the seat armour in there, I don't think I've got it handy. I'm going to get the seat armour if I can find it. I can't find it. It's basically a big plate that sits at the back of there to protect the pilot from projectiles coming in from the back. If you put that in, you cannot see anything behind that seat at all. You might as well just not bother putting anything in there. Not from this direction anyway, and certainly not when the cockpit's closed up. So it just helps a little bit with seeing things inside that fuselage. Now if it's a civilian aircraft that's flying around now, they don't often have that. Well, I've seen some without this metal plate in there, so I just don't put it in. It's a choice you make. Go look at the videos I've done on UV glue. It does mention this seat and how I've enhanced the seat. I've built up the back of it with UV glue. I've also enhanced the look of the back of the seat with UV glue as well, give it more texture and make it look a bit more leathery. I haven't finished it yet. I need to put some more, put the actual adjuster lever. This is the lever that goes on there, basically just the height of the seat up and down. That's it really, but the seat's not important to me because I'm not going to put that in. I can leave that out for a considerable amount of time with this build. I can literally fit it at the end of the build if I want to, so it's not important at the moment. We've got the radio. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the radio in because I have exposed the hatch on this when the fuselage is on, when this side is on. Once you put the radio in, well, even without the radio in, you can't see a lot in there. It's a little bit disappointing really, but I could put the radio in later on if I wanted to. Now a radio is only a radio if it's connected to wires, isn't it? So you have got 3 wires. I don't know how this radio works. It must be very, very heavy, this radio, because if you look on a real aircraft, it'll say on this, this plane must not be flown without ballast or this radio fitted. So that must weigh like an enormous amount of weight, because I don't know if you know about how aeroplanes work, but they've got a centre of gravity and they've got to balance at a certain point, which actually is marked on this aeroplane. I can't remember where it is now. It's that little mark there. That's where an aeroplane does, because the wing comes quite down here. So when an aeroplane, a conventional aircraft, not modern ones are different, but it has to balance at this point. So if you took the weight away from there, it would become very nose heavy. So I think that's why they can get away with the Spitfires. When you see them where you can actually go for a flight in a Spitfire, the passenger sits here, and that's because this has been removed. The weight of this, whatever it is, it must be made of flipping bags of cement and concrete. I don't know what it is, but it's a very important bit to be in there if they're going to fly it, or some ballast. So I have to fabricate a hatch for this. Well, the hatch is already there. I have to fabricate how it opens, put a catch in there and stuff. And also, if you look on photographs, there's a piece of one of them, it has more structure inside there that's now missing on this kit, so I'm going to have to fabricate a little piece of that as well. So there's a lot to do before I get this fuselage together, and I have to decide what to do with that. So this video is going to be about doing lots of these things. And I'll try and make it as short, well, not too short, because people seem to like detailed videos of how you do things. So what I'm going to do now, I'll put some still photographs up of where this model is at this moment. So I'll take some pictures of the cockpit if I can. I'll take some pictures of the these parts and anything I think that's relevant. I'll take some pictures of the seat and things like that. So you know where it stands at the moment as part one. So what we'll be working on is this side of the cockpit, this part of the cockpit tub. And once they're done, and this radio has been dealt with, and these oxygen tanks have been dealt with, I can get the thing glued together and then move on with it. So there's a lot of work there. As regards the video, I'll try and keep it as concise as I can, but I'll do little bits of snippets on how I do each part, and then I'll take pictures of each part when before and after it's finished, if that's okay. I did get some, as I say, I've got some Edward parts for this kit. Some of them I'm not going to use because they're just nuts. This is this is an incredible piece. This is a replacement cockpit door. The whole door is replaced by PE that goes on this side here. I'm fascinated to build that. I'm not going to do it right till the end, there's no need to, but yeah, it's got an Edward control panel in at the moment. Now there's two different versions of Edward control panel. This one, it comes in a little packet and it comes just like that, straight out of the packet, and all you do is glue it straight on. It is the easiest, simplest thing I've ever seen, and it's fantastic. The one in the kit is also very good, but it's very time consuming to put together, and it looks really good. The only bits it's missing is the coloured dials on this side and some of the switches and stuff. But if you don't want to buy an aftermarket control panel, stick to the Airfix one because it's extremely good, as long as you've got the patience to put all the decals on, because there's lots of them and some of them are absolutely minute. Now when I bought this Edward upgrade kit, I've got it comes with all sorts of stuff. It comes with the additional parts for the cockpit in there, and it comes with the control panel as well. But you've got to build this one, and I don't see the point. It might be a little bit better, but it's so negligible. I just can't see the point. So I've got to spare one of those. If I ever build another Spitfire, I suppose I might use that one. But the time to build that compared to that is, I don't mind time on anything. I don't mind spending time building anything. But the difference between the two is so small, I just don't see the point. So I'm happy to stick with that one. If I'd maybe not got this and I'd been happy to fit that as well. But there's a lot of work in that, bending all this PE stuff and all that sort of business. What else have we got PE wise? There's a bit on the side of the compass. Now that compass, really you can't see that at all when it's in the model. It's negligible as to what you can see there. So I ain't going to bother with those. So yeah, so what we're going to do as part of this video, it might end up in two videos to be fair, because it's just going to be, it could be quite long. I've already rabbited on too long. So I'll put some still pictures up now of where we are at the moment, and then we'll start and I'll pick on each individual part that I need to address, and I'll do build process, still photographs, move on to the next, and that should be it. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, I'm just doing some dry fitting to see what you can and can't see inside this fuselage. Mainly these tanks at the back, I want to know what you can and can't see there. I don't know if you can see it on video, but I am considering this clear part. It is very clear actually, it's a nice moulding is this. There's no reason why that has to be glued on, I don't think. You could take it off. Again, it's a static model. You don't wave them around, you're not flying the thing. It just sits there on a diorama. So there's no reason why that couldn't just be taken off. I think it fits really well. It's not like it has to be filled or you know, anything doing to it other than just painting as any other part. And it sits there quite comfortably, sat there, beautifully fitting on that kit. So even if I don't take it, even if I glue it on, you can see a lot in there. It's just balancing in there is that pipe, that part at the moment. So you can see all the control cables. Even if I put the seat in, you can see the control cables underneath there. So I'm quite pleased that that I've put them in, because you can see them. If you put the seat belts in, that would hide some of it. Certainly if I put the seat belts in, it's going to hide a lot of it because the seat's going to be there. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. I'll think about that later. So I think I need to detail these parts more than I initially thought. There's a lot of pipe work connects to these two points here. That you kind of, I have got some drawings of it. I'll see if I can find them, but I'm not going to go mad on it. But I think there needs to be some kind of impression of pipe work connecting to these pipe work, just to show some detail there. So first job is to do that. So I'm going to start prepping this up now. This is how I always prep up plastic parts. Because I'm going to modify this part, I want to know what the original looks like. So what I always do is take a picture of it. Just take a picture with your phone so you know how it looks. It's quite a simple part, isn't it, really? It's nothing major about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this off, because I don't need that anymore. These are going to get replaced by metal. So that's coming off. Oops, that's coming off. And it's now on the floor somewhere, which I don't care about. I need to clean all this up. So my general procedure for cleaning any plastic parts, I've glued them together a long time ago just to make sure they're nice and set. It's just the usual scrape method. Nice and steady way. Get rid of all the horrible seam lines. I hate seam lines on model airplanes. They just shouldn't be there, ever. So we're basically cleaning up the part. I've seen different colours of these. Some paint them light grey. I've seen them painted silver. Now the model I'm building, it's a difficult one, isn't it? All the models I build them as if you imagine if you went to a museum and you wandered into a museum hangar, there it would be. It'd be sat there in front of you, as a restoration or a replica of an aeroplane that used to be used in the Second World War in this case. So I don't want it to look like it's been battered and used in that respect. I want it to be a show plane. I want it to look like a plane that's looked after and well cared for. So that's how I will make this model. It's a bit like going to a car show, isn't it? You're not going to go want to look at some nice restored Escort Mark 1 Mexicos or whatever, I don't know, a Capri for instance, something like that. You're not going to want to see it all sat there all rusty and dropping in bits with filler in the wings, are you? You want to see it looking the best it could be, and that's how I like my models to look. I'm not saying I don't like weathered models, because some of the things you see online, the weathering is fantastic. They're so clever the way they do it, and the techniques for doing it. It's just, and I'm not averse to doing it. I want to have a go at doing that myself more, but at the moment in my current stage of building kits and stuff, I like to do them like this. So yeah, that's how it's going to be. And because it's a modern aeroplane, it's not replicating a plane that used to be around in 1940s. It's around at the time of filming this video, it's 2024. The only exception I'm going to make with this one is I'm going to put the guns in, and I'm going to put, I don't know, I might put the ammunition boxes in there with ammunition in, which you wouldn't see on a modern aeroplane. I think you're doing some of the American ones. I've seen them where they've actually got guns in there that work. I think they're quite illegal, but I've seen it done on a P-51 Mustang. But I just want to do it just because it's part of the build, isn't it? And it's something I've not done before on one of these kits. So as you can see what I'm doing now, I'm just giving it a clean up. Standard routine for any piece of plastic. Get a decent piece of sandpaper. This is grubby sandpaper, so I've been filing with it. Get all the seam lines off. We don't want any seam lines, it's very grubby, it's got all aluminium dust all over it. Doesn't matter. So, all the aluminium dust, doesn't matter at all. Right, so we're going to... I need to drill some holes in the ends of there. So let me get the equipment together and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so what I'm going to use, I've got some different coloured wire. I get this from jewellery shops, you know, people that make their own jewellery and stuff. This came from a company called Hobbycraft in the UK. I'm sure it's available just about everywhere. So this is actually, I think it actually is copper wire. This is like a tin wire that's made to look goldy, I suppose. So I use that for all sorts of things. I'm not sure what colour to do this. If you look on pictures, it's generally the goldy coloured. It's like a brass colour. I'm not too fussed about the colour being mega accurate on it, because on modern ones they do tend to use different materials as well. So, and I don't mind it being not necessarily the right colour. So I'm probably going to use this brass colour or gold coloured metal. I found a piece that broke off, or I cut off and it found an awful lot. I found that anyway. So I can use that as a rough copy. It doesn't have to be accurate. As long as it's within reason, that shape, I'm quite happy with that. So drill bits, standard practice, and we're going to drill some holes in here before we do anything else. I'm just eyeballing where that needs to go. Basically in the middle of there. You've got to take your time with these because they can break off, these drill bits, they're so thin. And this is one of the bigger ones. Just take your time with that and drill right through this actually. I've got one on that side. One on that side. I'm going to keep doing this and I'll come back when I finish doing the drilling part. Okay, I've drilled a pilot hole on both of them. I'm just using a slightly bigger drill bit just to make the holes a bit bigger. Just be careful when you're doing this just not to run off, because you'd end up drilling through the side of the plastic. These drill bits are a bit weird as well. They're not like a fine pitch drill bit, they're like a tight screw, and they screw themselves into the plastic, so you've got to be careful not to damage it. So that's probably deep enough now. So what we'll do with this, just to make this part, I did this before I painted it, you see, because obviously you don't want to be messing with it too much when it's painted. So, I'm pushing the wire into the deeper part of the pilot hole that's already there, if you like. So that, I just want to make that. It's a simple shape, it's only that. So we're going to get tweezers up to there, bend it to there. Oops. I'll back in a minute. See, it's gone quite deep into the parts, which is good. Just lining the tweezers up. That hole there. And the bend there. Just gonna. There's a flatter Again, I'm not convinced this is the right shape, even the one in the kit's not necessarily the right shape. But it's near enough. And then we have a metal tube. You don't have to paint that now, so it's probably a little bit shiny if anything. It might not be as shiny as that, but it's not far off. I've got a slight little thing in there. So there we go. We've got a nice little brass part in there, or brass looking. So that's that part done. That's dead easy, isn't it? I'm going to do the same on the bottom. I don't know what I'm going to do about the way that the pipework runs, but that's not important at the moment. All we'll do with this now is I've got all the little parts of the kit and stuff. When I've made them, I put them in there so I don't lose it. So I know where that is now. So next job, paint this. So I need to make sure it's clean and tidy and everything. I'm going to drill some more holes in the bottom and I'll paint it. And I'll put the decal on actually. And I'll probably satin coat it as well, so I'll be back when I've done that. Okay, basically to paint this I've decided that colour is quite good, which is primer grey from Tamiya. So I've given them a decent coat of primer grey just to kind of make them a bit smoother. Next job is I'm going to spray them gloss actually, so I've seen these glossy and I think they look quite good gloss. I'll spray the actual, well, all of it glossy to start with, and then I'm going to pick out the bracket in silver because that's the colour it is. I don't know if I'm going to spray that yet, so I don't know if I can get away with masking it enough. That was on silver, and then I put the decal on. Probably give it a lacquer coat, maybe a gloss coat again, I don't know yet. I'm going to paint these two top parts and the bottom parts, the wire can go on. Then I've put basically some sort of plumbing wire arrangement at the bottom. Then it can go in the model, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, back. I've just dry fitted this fuselage half. I've now fitted these pneumatic tanks to the side of the fuselage. So I've just put it in there to see, just to show what can and can't be seen. I think it's worth adding a little bit of extra detail, which I have done. I'll show you in a moment what they are. And I've added the wire onto the top of there. So all I've done, there is a lot more plumbing to this arrangement than you can see here, but to make it is way beyond necessity, I think, because you're just not going to see it. These wires basically go in a convoluted through a bunch of valves and stuff and junction boxes and all sorts of things, and then they go off down the fuselage, which basically I think are these wires here that I've put in. So it does look like they're connected to them, but I haven't done all the plumbing and stuff down this bottom end. But I'm quite happy with that. I've painted them. That is just basically primer grey, Tamiya primer grey, and I've gloss varnished it. And I'll just put the decals on straight on top. I haven't lacquered over the decals even, I don't think it's necessary. Painted the top parts silver with this. I've used this for so long, I've had this paint for ages, and I use it for brush painting because I thin it down with water and it's really good for that. So they've just been painted silver. Bit of Tamiya panel liner. I quite like the brown for this because it's not too harsh. You got to be careful with panel liner. I think you can overdo it. You can make whatever you're doing look like a cartoon caricature version of what it is, but it just picks out a little bit of detail there, and I quite like that. So as far as I'm concerned, they're done. So I can move on to the next parts. These are all the parts left to fit on this, and there's a lot more of them than I expected. These are the little PE parts on the kickboards. I'm going to fit those soon. I might varnish them first actually, and then put a little bit of panel liner on those just to pick them out, just to show the actual detail in them. And then all these little bits, so most of them go on that side of the fuselage now. There is one piece left that goes on the other side of the cockpit, which is just there. But it has two copper wires or brass wires coming out of it, which, just to keep it in keeping with all other brass wires and copper wires I've replaced, I want to do these as well, but they are very small and thin, these, and I'm not sure if I can drill that. I think I can, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. What else is there left? That's the trim wheel. Quite a really big trim wheel for what it does. That's painted black. So these are various colours. Some of them are painted cockpit green, some are black. This is multiple colours. This is the throttle quadrant. It's quite a little work of art, is that? When it's painted up, it looks quite nice. I'm not sure if it needs some control wires coming off this as a scratch build part. I don't know yet. I'll dry fit it in there and see what it looks like. I might have to do that as well. Please excuse the cat squawking, I didn't put her out this time. And then everything else, it's PE. There's PE on the side of the fuselage even. These parts here go on the side there. So I'm going to put these on, but I'm going to have to repaint this side of this fuselage half to accommodate them. So I'll fit the bits that go on here, and then I'll have to mask all this off and then repaint this part. So there's a lot to do on this yet. I'm conscious this particular video is getting quite long now. So I'm going to go away and get all that bit done, and I'll come back to when I've got something else to show you. Okay, all the parts have been painted, well initially painted anyway. All the black bits we've got done there. So what I want to do with these now is just, I've looked at pictures, I'll try and find some reference pictures that I use and I'll put them on the screen. But just to pick out a little bit of detail on here, I'll show you what I want to do. I've been doing this for years now. It goes back a long time. This is just a pencil. Just scratch a bit of lead off it. This is not the right, I think it's a HB or something. It works better with like a 6B, but for what I'm doing now it's not so bad. Relatively clean hands. And just get your bit. And it just kind of picks out, get on your finger, just rub it on the edges of everything. And it picks out all the edges of the part. It kind of makes plastic look quite metallic as well. I know it's not really strictly a metallic part, but well, it will be. It'll be metallic, and it would have worn edges from use and stuff like that, just general use. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. You probably can, but it just kind of adds a little bit of interest, especially on little dimply bits like that. When I finish this little bit, I'll once it's on the side of the fuselage, I'll put a finished product on it and a picture on it, and you should see what I mean. So I want to do that with all of these, particularly on the ones with a bit of PE on it, because you can't see it really unless you do something to highlight the difference in the detail. You just can't see it on a black object. So I'll give it a go. So again, just rub it on. I don't know if you can see it picking it out. Works great on guns actually. I like it on guns. It really makes them look like gunmetal. I prefer guns to be glossy first. I'm not doing these. These are satin. Yeah, just tickle them up with a bit of pencil lead, and it just brings out the detail in the parts. I don't know all of them actually. And this will need painting. I think it's a radio. I may be wrong. Again, it just you can do this with charcoal as well, pastels, sorry, of varying colours. In this particular instance, I've got blue tack all over that now. In this particular instance, pencil leads I think is the best solution. I won't say this blue tack, I have to pick it out. That's that bit done. There's a bit left. So if we can see that on camera, just kind of highlights the little details on there. I want to do it on the green parts because they need some more. I need more paint on the different colours and stuff. Well, some of them do. So just get a bit more of that. I'm just kind of fill it. Just move it around your fingers. This needs some photo etch putting on it as well, so I'll do it anyway. But yeah, there we go. It'll show up better on the pictures. The pictures I take, by the way, are shot with a macro lens, so they're kind of way bigger than 1:1. They're showing the part a lot bigger than it really is, and it's kind of not forgiving, because obviously it's making it, it's magnifying everything about it. So if you look at it and think, well, that's rubbish, just bear in mind how small it actually is. This is the part that I modified, by the way, and put the brass parts on. I managed to do it okay. I'm quite pleased with that. It was quite easy to do, really. I just drilled the holes out and put some brass wire in, and away you go. So that's that bit done as well. I'm not sure what this is. I'll have to look it up. I think there's a bit left. Some on my finger. I think there's a decal goes on here. I might be wrong. So there we go. So that's all those black bits done, and they need to go on onto this part here. So I'm gonna put the ones on that I can put on, and then when they're on there, it'll be easier to fit a bit of. It comes with some on the Edward kit. It comes with the some coloured parts, which are quite remarkable. So I'm going to put these on there, and I'm going to put those on there, and then I'll see where it is from there, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, the parts are on the fuselage side now. I'm just starting to add the PE. Now, I used to glue PE on with super glue, and it's all right. But the problem is super glue tends to grab really. You know, once it's in place, it tends to grab hold of it, and you can't reposition it. So what I've started using is this stuff. GS Hypo Cement. Pinpoint precision for jewellery, beading, hobbies, watch crystals, optics, industrial applications. You just do a search on YouTube, not YouTube, eBay. That's where I got mine from, and it's alright. It's a bit like it's just basically like a contact. It's not even a contact. It's a bit like Bostik, if you know what Bostik is or something. But it's got this quite little. It's got like a little pin in there. And it's got like a syringe sort of style applicator. It tends to weep, so you've got to be careful with it. It's not as precision as it implies. But you can just put a little bit on the end of there actually. And what I like about it is it's not like an instant glue. It's you just put a little dab of it on there. That's plenty to hold a bit of PE. But the bit of PE I'm sticking on is here, which is there, look. Tiny thing. And that's enough to put that in place. And then I can move that a bit. If I'd have done that with super glue, it would just stuck to it, and there's no way on earth I could have. I'm putting my glasses on. There's no way on earth you could have moved it again, if you like. So I think it's quite a good glue to use, that. So I'm going to go around the rest of it, stick all of the bits of PE on, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, just a little bit of silver paint to go on this lever here. There's nothing exciting, it's just this bit needs painting here. So what I tend to use is this stuff again, a good old Velegio, or however you pronounce it, I don't know. I tend to water it down as well, a little bit, and just I'm gonna hand paint it. You can't spray things like this. Too small. Well, not necessarily too small. It's just in awkward places to mask and things like that. So that brush is not the one I want to use. Use that one. I know I've seen quite a few people when they build kits like this, put every component on the model and just paint it on the model. And I've got to say, I've seen some fantastic results, people doing it that way. I think the advantage of that is you don't have to worry about holding the part. A bit like this really, because this is glued on, isn't it now? You don't have to hold it with anything. You're holding it by this big piece here, and you don't have to worry about the glue afterwards, because painting a part and then gluing it on afterwards is really hard. Because glue always seems to make a mess, or at least it makes your life harder to try and paint it. and then glue it on afterwards. So I have mixed feelings about it. I like to be able to spray things if I can, but I also like to be able to paint things on the model. So I'm quite happy. I think that's enough actually. The end of it's black. It's got a black handle on it here. So that's it. Now what I want to introduce you to is one of these things. Fantastic, this. Liquid chrome. And boy is it liquid chrome. It's great for mirrors and anything that you want to look like chrome. It does. Give it a shake up. It's just leaked a little bit, is that? I just want to just highlight these. It wouldn't be like this probably. But if you just whack a bit of that on there. It really does look like chrome. I tend to find them. I'm using this thing quite a bit now. So it looks really nice. It catches the eye. So there you go. Liquid chrome. Probably there won't be chrome. But mine is. Again, it's in such a subtle position. Is this part you won't notice it anyway really. I just thought I'd do it just to demonstrate how useful these things are. Again, just look up liquid chrome pen on eBay. There's loads of them. I'm not going to do the top ones, I think that. Or should I? I don't know. I'm not going to do the top ones, but yeah, get one of those cheap as chips. You can get them in different sizes. This is the smallest tip to do, I think. So I think they're really good. So yeah, PE's on now. Should be a drinking game for every time I say PE on this video. So yeah, it's on there now. I scratched a bit of black paint off there by mistake, so I thought I'd just take it all off that line to see what it looked like. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it that way, but it adds a little bit of detail, I suppose. I'll probably paint over it. So that bit's done now. The only thing that needs to go on now is I have this bit that needs painting. I'm thinking of putting it on there first to paint it. So, and then we've got some of the bits on the side of the fuselage, and I really want to get this fuselage together now. I'm getting a bit. I don't like doing fuselages inside. I'm not over keen on cockpits. As much as they are fun and they look good and it's important that you do them, this isn't the part of a build I enjoy the most. I don't feel comfortable until the fuselage halves are together and I can start working on the outside of it. Because I don't know what it is. I think it's psychologically, I like to work on things you can see. And I know most of this stuff I'm putting in this fuselage, you can't see it. And it's a lot of effort and time, and most of it will just vanish, and I won't be able to see it very much. So most of my psychological efforts on the model kit goes on the bits I can see. So that's when the fuselage halves go together. But hey, it's fun, and now that I'm doing this YouTube stuff, I can see it because I can look back on what I'm doing with this build, and it's you know, it's part of that. It's another dimension to building, isn't it? So yeah, so there we go. So I'll be back when I've got all the parts where they need to be, and this will be painted. Okay, back again now. Right, so everything I was talking about earlier has now been done. This is all painted, all the PE's on it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm drawing a line under that, and that's good enough for me. There's some little components needed to be fitted on this side of the fuselage, that's been done as well. All the stuff I was going to put in there is in. So I'm quite happy with that now. I think I'm at a point now with this fuselage and this cockpit that I've spent so much time on this now, adding scratch built parts and thinking out how to do it. I've had enough of it. And I think everybody must get to this point where you just think, and if you're not careful at this point, you can start to kind of cut corners and rush things. So I'm not taking a step back from it, but I think I'm happy with it as it is. I'm going to not add any more detail to it. I'm just going to say that's enough now. The only thing I need to do to it, I need to make a decision about the seat. I'm going to glue the seat in and leave it in permanently. or I'm going to make it removable. Don't know yet. If I put the seat in and fix the seat in, I'm going to put the seat belts and all the seat belt arrangement and mechanism and stuff in the back here as well. If I take the seat, have the seat removable, I can't do that. So, I don't know. My gut feeling really is to just abandon the idea of making the seat removable. Because even if I did make it removable, how often would I do it? I mean, I'm not going to do it very often. I've got plenty of video, record of what I've done in here. So I think I'm going to glue the seat in. In fact, I've made that decision while I'm speaking to you now. The seat's going to get glued in, and then I'll move on next to putting the seat belts in. So I can now fit this part onto here. I'm going to do a video about this specifically because this is unique to the Spitfire build, if you like. It's going to be a top tip, how to fit this and how to fit the fuselage half together without causing you future problems with this build. Because if you don't do this bit right, it's not difficult. I'm not a genius for working this out. It's just I've done it before and I've done it wrong. So I don't want other people to avoid this. So I'm going to do a video later on about how to join the fuselage sides without causing you problems. I've already done some top tip videos on this, but I want to do an additional bit. And the only thing I need to do for additional detail in here, because I've exposed this hatch, if you look at any reference photographs, just there you'd see a bearer or a former showing just there with holes in it, and obviously this one doesn't have that because, well, it just doesn't have it. It's alright on that side because it's got that former showing, so I'm happy with that. But it just needs a little bit of fabricated plastic card with some holes in to create the illusion of another former being there. So I need to do that, and I need to make a decision about putting the radio in or not, I suppose. The radio I can probably make a decision later because I can always fit it afterwards. Because if I do put the radio in, which is this beastie here, I'm assuming these are terminals for something. Will be. So you can't just chuck it in there and leave it. It's got to have some more detail added into that. So I thought I might just not bother with the radio for now and worry about that later. So I'm sure I can do that. What else is there? The radio mast, I don't think you can see anything that goes beyond the radio mast in there anyway, so I think I'm safe to just join the halves. So I think I'm going to call it a day at this video. I know it's probably been a little bit dull, to be fair, but I'm trying to document what it's like to build a Spitfire for anybody that comes along in however long it's going to be, and they can refer back to these videos and watch a Spitfire being built from almost start to finish with additional detail added to it, of course. So it might be a bit dull at the minute, but it's like a collective bunch of videos that will make a whole at the end. So I'm going to call it at that, and that's where we've got. I'll throw some still pictures up of where we've got so far. I did give in actually and put the chrome pen on top of those because it just looks, I just like it. It must be the inner magpie in me. I like shiny things. So yeah, still pictures at the end. We're done on that one for now. Catch you in a bit.